Thank you, Burnell. You've done my job. We can go home now. You don't know this, but that's the basics of science of mind right there. Right? We create our own reality based on our thoughts. So, perfect.
Shout out to the gentleman that read from Ernest Holmes, too.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome into our second Sunday of January. It's wonderful to be here with you. And you heard this, that we are talking about the basics of science of mind in January, the wisdom of science of mind. Last week, we talked about the thing itself, and this week, we're talking about how it works. And I wanted to just remind you that we do this because there's a profound teaching in science of mind. And it's in the first 4 chapters. If you don't read beyond the next 4 chapters of Science of Mind book, you're going to change your life if you apply these to your life. So that's what we're doing here this month. It's foundational. And like I said last week, it really is the scaffolding of everything that we teach and we learn and we practice and we embody in this center. So we have an accompanying book this month that helps break down the science of mind in a beautiful way. It's called The Science of Mind, based on the classics by Ernest Holmes, only a summary of chapters 1 through 4. So we've made it even easier for you to follow along with us this month. You can get this on our website. You can download the PDF. You can look at it digitally, or you can print it off like this. So, like I said, last week we're talking about the thing itself. And I have to tell you guys something. I went to Selena's house yesterday. We had a food, fun, and friends event where we learned how to make sourdough bread. Yeah, I think I need to get some more practice. I'm not like Selena yet, but as we were doing this and I was thinking about sourdough bread, I was realizing that the thing itself is the living starter of spirit. So you're going to follow along with me, because everything I talk about today is the process of making sourdough bread. Now, I'm a newbie at making sourdough bread, so I'll tell you a little mishap that I had recently. But it makes me giggle, because when I think about these topics that I'm going to speak about, it always happens that there's something happening in my life that helps inform me about what I'm bringing to you. See, our lives are this little macrocosm of the bigger life out there. Everything that you're reading and everything that you are watching and everything that you're listening to becomes what is forming in your life. So, the thing itself, there's only one great starter here. I got my starter from Selena. It's in my jar at home. It's behind all of creation. Think of it as the sourdough starter of the universe. I know you're going to get sick of this, but I'm just going to go with it here. A sourdough starter might be simple. It's just flour and water. But you give it time, you give it warmth, you give it attention, and it becomes something else. Something mysterious happens, and it becomes alive. That's what happened with my starter that I created yesterday. I got it home. I forgot to undo the top of the jar, and I looked at it, and it was almost to the top of the jar. And I opened the jar, and I was like, "Oh, I better put something underneath because it's going to flow out over the counter." And I went to bed. And guess what? I woke up and it had shrunk down to where it began. So there was something that I wasn't paying attention to. And Selena, I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was because it wasn't in a warm place. The environment is very important. And at nighttime, we let it go colder. We don't have the heater on. It got cold, and it went from here to here. Live and learn. I will get better at this. I don't think I can use that starter for what I was going to do today, but that's okay. Maybe tomorrow. So the yeast awakens, and there's this invisible forces that activate the start, and it's just a fascinating thing to watch. It bubbles, it breathes, it expands, it becomes alive. It becomes a living culture that can transform simple ingredients into nourishing foods. That's just like science of mind, you guys. So think of spirit as that original starter of life. Intelligence, creativity. And there's no loaf that exists without the starter. Just like there's no one of us that exists without the starter, without the thing itself, life, God, whatever you call it, force, universe. So, we can never be separate from it because we are made of it. You need that starter in everything. We are extensions of it. We are all living cultures of the infinite. That is that teaching of oneness that we talked about last week. That first cause, consciousness, the thing itself. So in Science of Mind, we don't necessarily ask, how does God work? We ask how it works. Why do we say it? Because spirit is beyond a title, a gender. It's really hard to put a word onto something that's everywhere, that is so expansive. Of course, as humans, we always try to label things. So how does it work when it is in everything? It's omnipresent, omniactive, omnicreative. So, we're never outside of it because we are it again. We're not just the drop, we are the starter itself. You've heard that saying, I'm sure, or that metaphor, that we're not just a drop in the ocean, we are the ocean. That's what I'm talking about here. But here's the sourdough version. You are not just a loaf made from the starter, Ruth. You're not. You are the starter that is continuing itself. All of us are. We are individualized expressions of spirit, and we have this free will, but we have to provide the right conditions, like I didn't last night. You have to make sure it's either warm or cold, depending on what you're doing. You have to make sure you're in trust and not in fear. You have to make sure that you're nourishing it and not neglecting it. You have to make sure that you're patient and not rushing it. So the seed of perfection is already here within. Like, believing that it's going to happen. Jesus said it's believe, let me get this right. It's done unto you as you believe. What are you believing in this world? Belief is in our environment. Belief is in the temperature. Belief is in whether the starter rises or it stays dormant. See, what happens is we all end up giving ourselves a lot of false stories and narratives. We grow up in those places. Am I enough? Can I ever have what I really want? There's really not enough out there, so I'll just take what I can get and be happy with it. Or maybe this one, oh, it's too late. I'm too old now. Maybe, oh, I've spent all this time on this planet and I've never changed. Why am I going to change now? Those are the false narratives that we believe in. But the truth says the starter is always alive within us. It's always here for us. The yeast is always active. See what I learned yesterday, Selena? The law is always working. Growth is inevitable when the conditions are right. We have to pay attention to those conditions. Because I know that spirit is always for us. The universe isn't conspiring against us. I have news for you. You might have been living that way. God, why does this always happen to me? It's what we believe that comes forth in our life. Because spirit doesn't withhold anything from our lives. It really doesn't. And the law, the spiritual principles that we study, are not here to punish us. They're here to help create the life that we are meant to be living. So just like sourdough starter doesn't judge the baker, it responds to care or lack thereof. So, something that I noticed about the whole sourdough process is there's a part in the process where you have to fold the dough. And I'm going to compare that to challenges in our life. Sometimes we have challenges in our life that come up, and we get to fold our own dough. We get to knead our own emotions and what's going on in our life. But why does that happen? Because we're in the midst of rising to become something else than just the flour and water. It's the creation process. So, here's the question, especially these days. Can we hold the consciousness of light and love in this world when it looks so heavy? When we're being asked to stretch? And you know it, we're being asked to stretch every single day, especially if you watch the news. Can we rise to that occasion? Can we believe in equality even when injustice is still showing up? Can we trust that the harvest is coming even when we've seen prophets killed? Martin Luther King's birthday is next week, so I believe it's the 19th. And he reminds me and reminds us the ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand at times of challenge and controversy. Who are we? can we be that starter that's always ready to fold itself into something bigger so that we can nourish ourselves? His teachings are more than moral teachings. They're metaphysical law. So I want to talk about our Science of Mind symbol for a moment. And I'm going to stay with sourdough. Sorry, guys. Maybe I'm making you hungry. I'm making myself hungry. The top of our symbol is where we say we plant the seeds. So those beliefs, and this is where infinite intelligence lives. Creative mind, the starter itself, is up in the upper part of our symbol. In the middle is the fermentation process. This is always working, and it needs the right environment. So it's impersonal, it doesn't play favorites, and there's no exceptions. This is the middle part of our symbol here. And there's much more to this, and I know Myrna's talking about it at her book studies, and we talk about it in our classes, but I just wanted to give you an idea. The bottom part of our symbol is form, you guys. It's the loaf of bread. Right? What kind of bread did you create? Did you plant up here something that was different than what you got here? It always works, you guys. It always works. That's why we talk about being aware and conscious and how important our thinking is, like Brunel talked about. How important it is to choose love, compassion. How important it is to not believe those false narratives that some people out there in the world want us to believe to keep us small, to keep us in check, to keep us in fear. The truth is love. The truth is there's only one thing happening here. And it's sourdough bread. Yeah, okay. I bet Bren would agree with that. So how it works, the bottom line of how it works. We think, thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become conditions. The law responds, and form appears. That is the nugget of wisdom that Ernest Holmes teaches us. Now, how important is it? How important is it that you mind your thinking? Hey, I'm not saying this because what happens is we can think consciously or unconsciously. Do we want those subconscious beliefs to drive our lives? Or do we want to choose how we want our form, how we want our bread to taste? So if we ignore our inner knowing, we might plant seeds of limitation. Look, it's not a punishment, you guys. It's just a process. So if you're getting something that you don't want, I'm not saying that to have you beat yourself up or blame yourself. It's a moment for awareness so that you can choose something different. So the study of science of mind is the study of first cause, the power back of creation, Ernest says. It is the thing itself. And that power, that thing itself, that starter, is in us now. We haven't run out of it because we're older or been through what we've been through. It's still right here. It hasn't forgotten you. And it will never stop working. Never. So I want you to work it consciously. I have another quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and what I can do, and use it for a purpose greater than myself. So I say that we trust the starter. We tend our consciousness with love and compassion and kindness. We rise together into the bread of a more just, compassionate, and awakened world. Now we're going to do our prayer differently today. I'm going to invite the practitioners to stand. I'm going to do the first couple steps of prayer, and you, my friends, get to go up to a practitioner in a short and concise way, ask them for prayer, whatever it might be, wholeness, abundance, a new home, a new job, whatever it might be. They will do a quick prayer for you. So come up, practitioners. Okay, so there's practitioners, the people that are standing around the room with their stoles on are our practitioners. And this is my request, is go to whoever is available, because otherwise we're going to have a long line for one or another. You have a prayer request, go up to someone that's available. All right? So I'm going to begin the prayer, and I'll let you know when it's your turn. I'll let you know, Bruce, when it's your turn to come up and get your prayer time. So I begin this prayer with infinite gratitude. Grateful, grateful, grateful for this teaching, for this conversation, for this community, for Burnell and his wisdom, for Ernest Holmes and this beautiful book called Science of Mind that we know and we love, and we work on embodying these truth teachings in our lives. How grateful I am for this community that's been here for longer than 50 years, that keeps going and going and going, because this message, these tools are that important. I'm mostly grateful to know that there is only one thing happening here. Today I called it sourdough starter, but I mostly call it God, God, and only God, and it's everywhere and everything. It's in every musical note. It's in every tree and mountain, animal, sentient being. It's simply everywhere. There's no place that it is not. And knowing that truth, that we are all particles of the one, or have that active yeast starter within our hearts and our souls, we can never be separated from that which we are. So now is the time that I ask you to go up to a practitioner and ask for what you'd like prayer for. And as we're finishing up, I just want to say how thankful I am once again for Ernest Holmes and this philosophy, for affirmative prayer, knowing that as we put it out there into the universe, it always works 100% of the time, never not. So we release this prayer time. We let Spirit does what it always does. It's here for our good, creating a way, reminding us that we are divine presence in this human life, living a divine life. So we release it, we let it go. And we anchor this prayer time by saying together, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.